welcome to another edition of the Comic Anthologist. And to show your support, please hit the subscribe button and also hit that bell to let us know that you enjoyed it. Now, undoubtedly, I know a lot of you out there have seen the Avengers trailer.
And what do you think?
I enjoyed it. I loved it.
Yeah.
I can't wait because the hype is just...
It's going to start to build now, and everyone was waiting on the trailer to see what's next.
Because during the time when they were burial for George Bush, it was one of those things that they delayed the trailer a couple of days, but they kept it so ambiguous as to when they were going to show it.
Mm-hmm.
And once it premiered early morning, 5 o'clock in the morning to be exact.
Right, exactly.
Pacific Standard Time here. Let's just say already a few thousand people had already hit it up. Right. And by the time 24 hours had hit, it was the most watched trailer in history within 24 hours.
Seriously?
289 million hits. Wow. That's a lot compared to a lot of these trailers in the grand scheme of things. So the hype is there. People are waiting to see this, and I know this film is going to make a lot of money out of it.
Obviously, yeah.
And a lot of people have a lot of questions on what they've seen in the film.
Right, exactly.
As seeing Tony Stark drifting into space in one of the ships that came from Titan, and you could see that the despair on his face, but he wants to let Pepper know what's going on.
Right. But I want to interject too. One of the things that caught me in the trailer, that really caught my attention, besides one of the characters we're going to speak on, is the scene where they show the faces of everyone in the of everyone who disappeared.
From the snap.
The snapper who was missing or whatnot.
Right. The people who were Thanos.
Yeah, basically. Because they call that, technically it's called the decimation.
Right.
From what I've been reading online. So yeah, it's called the decimation. And originally there was rumors floating around about the movie being called Avengers Annihilation, which
that would still been appropriate,
right,
considering that half the population of the planet and in the universe was wiped out just from the snap. But at the same time, with it being called Endgame, they made hints and references to it.
Especially with that line that Doctor Strange has spoke on in the
film. That's exactly the point I was about to get across.
Said we're in the Endgame now.
Exactly.
Right.
So it was one of those things that people had to pick up on the clues here and there. And even when they did show the list of Avengers that were killed, or rather wiped out in the snap, or in the decimation, they showed that Shuri from Black Panther, that meant both the Black Panther and Shuri were taken out by the snap.
And of course they showed Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man,
being taken out as well. But they erroneously showed Ant-Man, but they didn't know where he was because when the snap took place, of course we all know that he was caught up in the quantum realm during that time, because
that's for those who have seen the film. Those who have not seen the film, well, you just got served a spoiler.
Well, that's the whole thing.
Of the film of Ant-Man and the Wasp, I mean.
Right. You haven't seen the film, just enjoy it. But that's one of the things that was left in there in terms of the final act of the film.
Yeah, it was like the mid-credits.
Yes, it was.
Mid-ending credits, yeah.
Any case, getting back to that, they showed those references, and then also there was a reference how they showed Thanos walking in the field. Now, I remember seeing that kind of shot in the film Gladiator that came out with Russell Crowe in 2000. And then also, too, there was a reference to Thanos' Scarecrow sitting in the field, which was...
and that was on the very last page of the Infinity Gauntlet.
Exactly.
And that was issue 6, the final issue of the final page of the Infinity Gauntlet. But another thing I wanted to point out too was just like how we mentioned the pictures of the people who are considered missing from the snap or from the decimation, that's also taken from the first issue of the Infinity Gauntlet.
Exactly.
Well, actually, no, the second issue.
No, it's the second issue.
The second issue, because the first issue is when he did the snap.
Yeah, they set up the whole thing in that first issue, and then the second issue, just like you said.
Right.
They showed the list of all the Avengers who were wiped out, literally.
Yeah, Black Panther was wiped out, the Fantastic Four.
And there's other characters like Cersei and, who was that? That was one of the Hulk's proteges. You know, the kid that he saved.
Are you talking about?
Rick Jones.
Rick Jones, yeah.
Rick Jones was one of those that was wiped out as well. And it was just something that it was leading up to the build up to the fight. But any case,
I was about to say Rick James, but
no, don't throw it out. Hey, I'm Rick James. No, that's not going to work. But there's another noticeable difference in there with Hawkeye being in the film, or rather in the trailer.
Yeah, because he wasn't in Infinity War at all.
And the thing is, he sat that one out because he was basically taking care of his family.
And they made mention of that in the film, but we see a very different Hawkeye in the trailer.
Yes.
And he was wearing a costume, and he wasn't using his typical bow and arrow. He was holding a sword, and he was actually cleaning the sword. Looked like he was on the streets of Japan,
yeah,
or something like that.
He was just basically taking out the bad guys, and you see that he's wearing the Ronin outfit. Now, the Ronin outfit is considered an identity that was created by Brian Michael Bendis and was first, and Joe Quesada, they first designed and showcased that particular character.
In New Avengers number 11, which year?
What was that? November 2005.
Right.
And Ronin basically was originally shown by, or rather the first character to be called Ronin was Maya Lopez.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she was deaf, but she also had the photographic memory of moves or whatnot, so she could easily mimic whatever fighting skills or whatever.
Similar to the comic book villain Taskmaster.
And she could basically take out whoever she needed to take out, but all she needed to do was see somebody's or watch somebody's fighting style.
Right.
And then boom, she was able to just take them out and do her thing.
Exactly.
Now, the second person who went by that name was Clint Barton,
Which was AKA Hawkeye, which
everybody knows who Hawkeye is.
but we see him in the trailer pull off the mask, so we're mentioning that because the regular public that doesn't read comic books, they were like, what's going on with the mask and everything? This is what we're bringing to the fore, or just bringing it up from what we've seen in the trailer.
And exactly. And the thing is with about Clint Barton being in that mask, maybe he was doing this as a direct result of his family could have been Thanos, could have been wiped out in the decimation.
Right, exactly.
So he's grieving, but also taking his rage out on those who are trying to take advantage of the situation now that half the population was wiped out.
Right, and that's just speculation at this point.
Yes, we can't even go into it because we haven't seen the film.
We don't know what's going on.
I can only go by what we see in
the
that trailer. And then on top of that, the third person was Alexei Shostakov, who was, and in fact, Black Widow's ex-husband,
Right.
who was going around assassinating other assassins. But that was during the Hawkeye Mockingbird limited series that was crossed in with the Black Widow series that came out at that time. And the last person who played, or rather who went by the name of Ronin, was Eric Brooks, but we all know him as the character of Blade.
Right.
So he took on that characterization temporarily, but there you have it in terms of the Ronin character. And like I said, he was designed to be different people in the Marvel universe, whenever need be or whatnot.
And Ronin in
Japanese
lore is basically a masterless samurai.
And also to a lone warrior.
Right, exactly.
So that's one of those things that they touched upon in the regular Marvel universe and in the Ultimate Universe. Ronin was basically created by the character, which was one of his multiple personalities, Mark Spector, who we all know as, or those of you that don't know, is Moon Knight. And we will touch upon the character Moon Knight
At another time.
At a very another time.
But then the Ultimate Universe we're referring to is where Miles Morales came from back in the day.
Of course.
But see, the character or that facade of Ronin has been used by multiple characters, not only in the Ultimate Universe, but in the regular Marvel Universe as well. And now
in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this is the first time it's going to be done.
Exactly, because going forward, just whatever Marvel plans for their films, maybe they could use Ronin with another identity in another film going forward.
And another character
Exactly.
who's well known, but they could also put that person in that
Exactly.
suit and play the mystery off of who's this person, who's doing this, and they could play that off going phase 4 and beyond with the other films.
Exactly.
But this is the first iteration of Ronin, the Marvel version,
Or Marvel Cinematic version.
Marvel Cinematic version of the character within a character that's showcased in this film.
Yeah, because Maya Lopez, that's her name, right?
Yeah, Maya Lopez.
Maya Lopez, yes it is, because I read the books, I'm sorry. Maya Lopez, basically, she had run-ins with Daredevil. Yeah, and when Brian Michael Bendis was writing that book at that time too as well. So Ronin has popped up in different variations, different identities throughout different stories since the character's introduction. So this being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, this is no different. Who's to say Ronin might pop up in a future Marvel Cinematic
That's
film,
exactly
like
what I
using
mentioned just a moment.
like Shang-Chi or something like that, Master of Kung Fu.
That could easily introduce new characters if just putting that characterization in there alone in the cinematic universe. But also getting back to the trailer, this is outfit that I have on is basically the outfit that Captain America is wearing is from the Winter Soldier.
Right.
And basically he's going to help try to undo what happened with Thanos, and the Black Widow was talking about this. So this takes place a few years after the events of the Infinity War, and the world is still reeling and mourning from what happened before that. But like I said, we will all get to that point later.
When that movie is released, and we'll be waiting in anticipation just like everybody else.
Yeah, because it'll be coming out on April 26, 2019. Originally, the date was supposed to be May 3rd, 2019, but of course they changed it to April because of the success of the first one.
Well, not only that, they wanted to put it out internationally.
Exactly.
So that way no one could spoil the film from overseas or whatnot online with they've seen the film first and then everyone in America has seen it. So they want to just like everybody sees it at the same time so no one gets spoiled. And then, of course, they may have something later on like they did earlier this year. It's like, Thanos demands your silence. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty funny how the Russo brothers had set that up with the letter, Thanos demands your silence. And I thought that was, I like that.
Yeah, that was cool. That was totally cool. But if you have any comments or questions, just hit us up at thecomicanthologist@gmail.com. And once again, if you're tuning in for the first time, please hit the subscribe button. And like I said, ring that bell to show us your support. In any case, this is the Comic Anthologist signing out, and we'll hit you back at another time. Peace. And whatever you do, definitely go check out the trailer for Avengers Endgame. It is off the hook. You got to see it because it sets up the drama and the gravitas of what's about to come next year in 2019 to finish out Phase 3 and the current storyline of the last 10 years of all the Marvel films that's come before.
And basically set up what's to come, and we don't know what's to come because they haven't made any plans besides the films that's coming out, especially the one that's coming out after Avengers Endgame, which is Spider-Man Far Away From Home.
Exactly. It's Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man Far From Home, and then after that...
we don't know what's going to happen at this point.
Yeah, it'll be anybody's game. In any case, thank you for tuning in, and take care.